All right, good morning, eighth graders. It's a beautiful, wonderful, lovely Monday out there. Um, Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about giving feedback because yesterday I was looking through many of the feedbacks that people were given on paper, and I was really disappointed with the work that some of you were doing. And so I figured that if everyone was doing this, then I must not have gone through it well enough. So I'm going to give you this handout here, and then I'm going to give you your assignment. Okay. So, um, in order to give good feedback, there are some things that you need to do, and there's a lot of them that you're not doing right now. So here are kind of 3 tips, 3 steps, 3 things that need to go into your feedback. 1, you need to have specific examples from the narrative to back up your answer to the question. This last part here is the part that frustrates me the most. If your comment could work for any story and not just the one that you're on, then it's not a good comment. And I will be counting you off on that if that's the case. So be specific, add in those details, add in those examples, all that good stuff. Okay? Number 2 here, each question should be honestly answered while still being critical. It is okay to like something, but then also give it a critique or say something that could be improved. I would hope that if you like something, you want it to be the best that it can be. And we're all 8th graders in here. We're all young writers in here. Nothing's going to be perfect at this point. And so it is our jobs to help each other out and make our narratives better. And this goes for all the writing that we're going to continue to do as we go. And so each question here should be honestly answered. And if you rewind, if you are uncomfortable doing that, do the feedback Oreo, where there's a compliment, critique, compliment. So you kind of sandwich that critique in between 2 really good things. So you can do that in your feedback. So you can say yes here, no here, yes here, and explain those specific parts and be compliment, critique, compliment. And number 3, the answer must be helpful. Help them out. Tell them what they could do better. Tell them the exact lines. Tell them the exact places. Copy paste it from above and put it down in the answer so that way they can see exactly what you're talking about. Do those things, because if you're just going to say yes and no, that doesn't tell them anything and it doesn't help them out. Okay? And sometimes you use that, oh yeah, it was great, as an excuse to not answer the question. I'm asking you to be more critical of what you are reading than what you're doing right now. Put in the effort, put in the time, and please do what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? Now, what I did was I went through a couple people's questions and I gave some good examples and some bad examples. So, Lang Bolt, in his story, he asked the question, did I provide good sensory images? So, here is a good example of one that I wrote. You described the snow and the feeling of being outdoors with the wind, but you didn't describe the characters very well. I did like the whoosh and the wham as the sound sensory images in the beginning. More of that. So, for those of you who read Lane's story, you know that he has sound effects of whoosh and wham in his story. You also know how he described the snow as very, very powdery and those kind of things. He used sensory images there. He didn't describe the characters because it's a personal narrative, and so it's weirder to do in a personal narrative because you already know all those things. Okay. Here's a bad example, and I pulled this one from one of your stories. So if you're thinking it's you, chances are you probably weren't the only one that did this. I thought you did a good job with sensory images. That doesn't tell that person anything. It's not even specific. You can tell them what you thought you did a good job with. Point it out. Pick it out of the paragraph. Pick it out of the narrative. Okay, you know. And so have those questions in mind as you are reading, so then that way you can go, okay, I'm looking for sensory images. Oh, he uses one here. She uses one there, and call it good. Okay. All right, and this last one here is Trustin's. And Trustin's, one of his questions was, did I get your attention in the story? Here's one that I wrote. The part where you say, I'm about to tell you one of my worst mistakes I ever made caught my attention. So that's directly from his story. But then you added a bunch of things we didn't need to get into the rest of the story. I also didn't like how you introduced your character and age. So even as I'm rereading this, because I wrote this yesterday, I should have been way more specific right here. But then you added a bunch of things that we didn't need. I should have said, such as, the car that he drove and the dog that he had and those kind of things, because it didn't add anything to the story. So even in my good example, I could have gone way more in depth and way more in detail. So again, please be as specific as you can be, okay? Because you're going to get all the stories, all the narrative, all the feedback that other kids are giving you. And so you don't want to go through and read 15 kids going, it was good. It was good. It was still good. And so help each other out, okay? So here is your assignment today. You are going to go back to one of the stories that you read last week, and you are going to fix up your answers for that story. And then you are going to make sure that the two stories that we were supposed to have commented on for today are commented in this sense, okay? For third hour, you have Grace and you have Tristan. For fourth hour, you have Tyrus and you have Nathan. Okay? So that is your assignment today. I will be posting it on the Google Classroom. You'll already see it because those will be out there too. If you have any questions, please let me know.